live with no mic. I get on mic. Here we go. Hello. Hello. Hello, everybody. This is Paul with Expedition Astro again. And today, that's my diesel heater warming up. So bear with me on that. It's a little loud, I know. Today, we're going to talk about the great sand dunes, the grand sand dunes. Let me fix my headphones. Yep, got my headphones going here. Okay, here we go. Let's get back into it. I know I'm late. My batteries were dying, so I had to get that situated. But yeah, we went to the Grand Sand Dunes National Park here in Colorado this past weekend. There was quite a bit of people out there, especially at the top. You could barely see them up there, but they look like little ants up there, which was pretty nice. Nice to see people go up there. I didn't go all the way to the top. You know, we had our dog. He was tired. He's not a small dude, so we had to make sure he's, okay and whatnot. But we did go up some of the sand dunes, and it was pretty nice. We were supposed to take a bunch of pictures and whatnot, and we didn't do that because, Shelly forgot her SD card for the camera. And I was going to post some pictures somewhere. I don't know if I could do that, but I was going to put them on the side or somewhere that you can see the Grand Sand Dunes. It was amazing. I lived in Colorado before I joined the military, I lived in Colorado for about 25 years. Never knew they even existed until years later. And then I was like, I woke up Saturday. I was like, let's go to the dunes. So it took a few hours to get down there, and went to check the dunes out. Was pretty nice. It was pretty nice. And you go see the dunes. You're like, wow. I've been in the desert. I'm not talking the desert in the United States. I'm talking about Saudi Arabia and Iraq and stuff like that. But it reminded me of that, seeing that sand and stuff like that. It's like really fine sand. I lived in Florida for 17 years. I could see the white sands of Florida beaches. It's not like white sand of the Florida beaches, but it's pretty close. It's not white, but it's, just the texture of the sand out there is pretty close. Yeah. Today I decided to go live. I haven't went live. I was supposed to go live Sunday, but we were too busy doing stuff. And I thought, well, let me just go ahead and pop on. I know I'm late, 7:30 our time here. 7:35. I'm late all the time. Hey, everybody, how's it going? But anyway, we went to the dunes, checked them out. Went to another part that's like right down the road, a couple of miles, but we didn't actually stay. We didn't go to the waterfall because you got to go on a trail and whatnot. We got the dog. Like I said, he was tired when we were going to the dunes. Now, I always tell everybody. A lot of you watch the videos on YouTube and stuff like that. I'm trying to build this channel, so if you like, subscribe, and hit that bell, get that notification so you can watch the next video. So I'm just putting that out there. You don't have to. It's free. You can watch every once in a while. Just put me in your queue or something like that, and you can probably see me then. But there's some adventures coming this summer. I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm going to fix the van before the summer comes, and there's some camping I'm going to do around the state. Colorado is a beautiful state. There's a lot of forests, waterfalls, mountains. If you live in the Front Range, you don't live in the mountains, you live in the Front Range. But if you live in the mountains like I do, it's a whole nother world. And a lot of people don't realize, I mean, the people blow through it so they can go skiing, but they really don't know, hey, I'm mountain living, or they got a, coffee or something like that, and they just blowing through the mountain towns. But anyway, I just thought I'd come on and just kind of talk like I always do. I should get a chair because I got so much stuff in here I can't sit down. This, like I said, I was talking to everybody last week, or I think it was about a week ago. I was saying that I'm going to be moving out of here and moving in my new property coming up soon. And I'll be doing live videos from probably there in the van and whatnot. The van's got to, I can't wait to get that van back on the road. It is my vent or my, yeah, I guess you want to call it that. It helps you relax, especially when you work hard every week fixing trucks, and then you have to come home to, you just got to come home and you got to work around the property and stuff like that. But yeah, it takes its toll. Now I need to get a haircut again. I got a good barber up here, and I'll be getting in touch with her to get a haircut. I got a bunch of toys. A lot of people, they ask me, at one point I had 15 cars. When I say 15, I mean 15. But I owned a shop. I owned an auto repair shop, so I used to park them in the shop, some of them, and I had them at the house. And you would never know I had that many vehicles, because people have a tendency to hoard, and they have stuff everywhere. So they have cars all in their front yard, all on the side of the house and stuff. No, I mean, I don't do that. Right now I have a 1997 Astro van, of course. It is overland, rigged up. It's got a lot of stuff. You probably see it if you watch the videos. I don't make great videos, but I'm trying. I have a 1972 Chevrolet Vega, which is a beast. Had the motor built by a guy in California. He built it out, and it is a beast. I mean, the car is 2,300 pounds, and when you put 500 horsepower behind 2,300 pounds, you do the math. I have a 1984 Austin Mini Cooper. It's not a Cooper. It's an Austin Mini designer. It is silver. It's pretty nice. It is pretty nice. It needs some work. When I brought it back from England, I was, there was some body work issues and stuff like that, and had a head gasket problem. So I got to fix that when I get it back here. So my stuff's still in Florida. Some of it, because we moved out here about, it's been like 2 years. But, and then I have a 2001 Astro van, which it was my work van, so I'm going to turn that one into a lowrider. Yes, not a lowrider, it's just going to be low. It's going to be hooked up. Subs, I'm going to mess around with that and build it up into a nice little van. Just to drive it, daily driver type stuff. The other one is a Beetle, 74 Beetle. That one is my wife's car. 74 Beetle. It's orange, and we're going to turn that one. We're not going to turn it into anything. We're just going to restore it. It is a really nice car. Needs TLC. You know how it is when you build stuff and stuff like that. It costs money. You gotta, you gotta pay for it. I'm looking at some people say, "Hey, how you?" I'm doing great, living the dream. I'm living this off-grid life. I need to shave, getting old, you know how it is. But speaking of the Beetle, the Beetle is a special vehicle. We need to restore it, and I would like to restore it to factory. Beetles, you can buy parts. You can buy a lot of parts. The other car, the Vega, you can't. You gotta hunt those down because they don't make parts for Vegas. They thought they were the worst cars on the planet, and You gotta fix, you gotta find them, fix them, put them together. Many years ago, when I first bought the Vega back in '97, I think it was '97. I used to have a website and a following back in those days. I had a lot of people needing parts, so I used to go out and junkyard and pick parts off cars in the junkyard, and I found a bunch of them in Oklahoma. And I used to go out and pull parts for people who had Vegas. And I probably, there's a lot of hot rod Vegas out there that probably got parts from me back in the day, because these guys were building up cars and nobody was dealing with Vegas, because Vegas, nobody wants the Vega, until they whipped your ass on the track. The Vega, like my Vega, I had a '74 Vega back when I was 15. When I first got my first driver's license back when I was 15, and I saw a guy. He pulls up in the car wash next to where we used to live where I used to live when I was 15, and he had a blower sticking out the hood of a Vega, and I was like, man, one day I'm gonna build that Vega just like this guy. But that was cut short because some idiot decided he wanted to run into me, and like I said, an idiot decided boom, I don't know what he was looking at, because back then we didn't have cell phones. Nobody was walking around with no iPads and nothing like that. So it was just him in the car looking off to the side or something, and he just ran in the back of me and destroyed my car. Talking about that day, I was so pissed off. So pissed off. I was like so mad. I was going to work, actually. I worked at a restaurant called Seagull. Me and a friend of mine, because he worked there. He was a bus boy. I was a dishwasher at the time. And we were out there driving, and I was taking to work, and I had like 13 speakers in the car. 13. The reason why I say 13, because the one in the front was 13. I had them all replaced. I bought a stereo. I had an Alpine stereo, Alpine amp, Alpine speakers, everything. I had 2 house speakers in the back. I bought 2 back in those days, the Jeeps used to put these little box speakers on the crossbar, if they pull the roof off, and you had these little box speakers up there. And I bought 2 of those, hung them up, and one of them hit me in the back of the head. It was like beep, bleeding all over the place. Thought I was dying. Went to the hospital. They said, "Oh, he's fine." There was nothing. They gave me $1,100 for that car. $1,100 back in the day, and I paid $500. So I made out. Made $600. Went and bought a '73 Impala. No, take that back. '73 Malibu. I don't think it was an SS. It was just badass. It had a 350 in it. Glass packs. I don't know if you know what a glass pack is. They were red. You can buy them at Super Shops. Super Shops was open back then. And I didn't put them. They were on it. It had 2 glass packs on it. 4-barrel carburetor. I want to say it was, I don't know if it was Edelbrock or Carter or what. It was a 4-barrel on a 350. Sounded like death. The car was so mean. It was like, wow. It had rotating seats. Like, I'm sitting in the seat and I can just get out the car. That was a badass car. Then me and my sister, one day I was driving. I went to a shopping center, and the tie rod end came off. And, I'm 16, 17, or 16. I was 16 at the time. I'm like, what the hell happened? I couldn't drive. The wheel was turning to the right, and I was trying to go left. So I ended up taking the car. I looked underneath. I said, man, something fell apart, and I can't turn. So I drove the car for like 2 miles backwards, completely backwards. I'm looking out the back window, driving backwards the whole way, down side streets. I didn't go across no major streets, but it was like down side streets, down back. And this is in Aurora, Colorado. I don't know if you know where Aurora is, but yeah, back in those days, it was crazy. I was driving backwards, probably a couple miles, And I got to the house, looked underneath, and I was like, I can't fix that. I didn't have a clue because I was a mechanic at that time. So my dad wasn't in my life, so I had to learn everything on my own. My Vega, I fixed that by myself. A friend of my mom, he was like, yeah, man, take this over there, do this, do that. Bring me this part, go to the junkyard, get this, fix this, and I was out there I was outside of his house for hours. Nobody was helping me fix this car, but I somehow managed to get it fixed and got it home. The shifter on a Vega back then, it's still that problem with somehow the linkage would get all messed up and you can't shift. So I had to buy another shifter out of another Vega. And we had a friend, my friend Harrison, he had a guy named Dad. We used to call him Dad. And he had a junkyard. And that junkyard, we used to go in there, he had all the parts you could ever want. And it was out in Globeville, somewhere in Globeville, Colorado. And I don't know if that was a town. It was in Denver, but they call it was a town at one time. But it merged into Globeville. And hold on a second, I'm stepping on a cord. But anyway, yeah, we ended up, I found the part, Dad had it, he gave it to me, paid him whatever for it, and took it back to the Vega. The linkage to get that thing to work, you had to be right on, because it was weird. It wasn't like a shifter, a normal shifter where you just boom, the transmission. No, it was like different, different plates that actually move the gears and the transmission. So I didn't have a clue. I'm sitting there for hours. Gunn was the guy's name. He was he didn't come out. I was out there by myself, freezing, because the car wasn't running, and I was in this is Denver, Colorado. So I finally got it fixed, drove it home. From that point on, I was a mechanic. Used to do all my tune-ups, and then I wrecked that car, bought another one. But the only problem is I wasn't a big car mechanic at the time. I wasn't trying to fix big cars, and then I got rid of that. Okay, let me tell you the story of that one. I had a 73 Malibu, white interior. I took all the speakers out of the Vega, put it in the Malibu. I wasn't dating nobody. I was just a kid out there. I knew a girl that went to a different high school than I did. And one day she said, another girl asked me to borrow my car to go to court for somebody else, to take somebody and give them a ride. So I was like, sure. That night, because I was going to loan the car so she can take it during the day, and then I was going to, go to school, do whatever. And then this girl I knew, she goes, you better pick me up after school. She had an attitude. I was like, what? I said, never mind. I found somebody else. And she goes, I'm going to fuck up your car. That car didn't run after that. I don't know if she night crawled up in my apartment complex and just threw sugar in the tank or something. That car didn't run after that. I was like, damn. So I had to call the other one and say, hey, can't use it because it won't start. Because it was like early in the morning. I tried to go out there and warm it up because, it's Colorado. Back then it used to snow. People today going, oh man, I got 2 inches. I got a foot. Global warming is real, people. I'm just going to tell you. You just got to figure it out. Democrat or Republican, global warming is real. It is real. It is happening. I've seen it in my lifetime. I've seen the slowdown of winter weather. It used to be bad. And it wasn't bad because I was a little kid. It was bad because it was bad. So get it in your thick ass head. Global warming is real. It has nothing to do with liberals, Republicans, conservatives. It has nothing to do with that. It has reality. I'm talking reality. Global warming is real. Everything is drying up. Oil is going away eventually. They're going to run out. Billionaires ain't gonna make billions off of it anymore. Lakes are drying. What do you call it? El Nino warming. They come up with these names. Holy. Let me go. I'll be right back. But anyway, yeah, that was my life as a teenager. I think about it all the time. It's like, man. And then I left Colorado for 30 years. I was gone for 30 years. I left in 1992. It's 2026. I came back in 2020. Colorado. 30 years later. Yeah, I'm an old guy. But anyway, it was a decision we made together. I was talking about it for years. Because, we lived in Florida. Florida's okay. There's nothing wrong with Florida. It's just, I'm not a beach guy. I don't need to be on the beach. I don't need to be sitting at a tiki bar. I'd rather sit at a mountain bar than a tiki bar. Because you get steak instead of fish. But anyway. Now we decided to move back. Well, this is my hometown. Colorado is. My wife's not from Colorado. She's from Kansas. And, but my mom was born in Kansas. So that's a match. It's good. But anyway, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. I'm looking at some of the comments down here. What the? But yeah, it's kind of funny about that. We talked about it for years. I'm not moving to Kansas or Colorado. So we gotta live in, we can live in the mountains. There's a lot of mountains out there, more than living in the cities. Work in the cities, live in the mountains. Just don't be in the, don't deal with the crazy. My phone probably gonna die, so if it does, I apologize. But yeah, this channel has been hard to build. I've been working on it for who knows how long. I started the van life thing with the Astro van probably in 2018 when I bought that van. I don't even know. I bought it to use it as a work vehicle. It was going to be one of my shop trucks, and I ended up selling it. I sold it. Bought it. I didn't buy it back. I got it back for free. So it was actually a win-win situation for myself. I bought the van for $500 in Tallahassee. Had it for 2 years sitting in my shop, and then one of my mechanics was like, hey, and you probably heard me tell this story before. Let me wipe this down because I lost some banquet. A friend of mine my mechanic was like, hey, that you need to sell that. It's just sitting around. You ain't doing nothing with it. I said if I sell it, I'm gonna sell it for $2,000. And he was like, ain't nobody gonna buy that for $2,000. So I posted on Craigslist, and I don't know if it was eBay or Facebook. Well, Facebook. I don't know if Facebook was on. Facebook, MySpace, whatever. I posted on one of the platforms, and somebody showed up with $2K cash. I was like, this guy wants this van because he got cash. So I ended up selling it to him. He takes it away, and I'm like disappointed, depressed, $2,000 in my pocket. And then I was like, okay, I'll never see that van again. Well, about 2 years later, he comes back and he's like, hey man, I need you to work on my other van. I was like, okay. So he goes, my rear end went out, so I need to get that changed out. So I went and got a part. They gave me the wrong one. He had a 6-bolt. This was a 5-bolt rear end. So I was like, he was getting mad at me, but I was like, hey man, they gave me the wrong part. They're gonna send me the right one. I had to give them the right van and make sure we got the right one. So I ended up getting the right one, changed the rear end out, and me being a shop owner, a solo shop owner by myself at the time, I had to do this stuff while I was trying to make money. You can't stop. I gotta keep the doors open. So I ended up taking a little bit too long on the fix, but I ended up changing it out, get them all situated. And then one day he goes, "Hey man, could you go look at my other van?" Talking about the one I got. I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I went over there, looked at it, and the starter bolt was busted in the block. So he was jimmy rigging how to start, and it wouldn't start. So I was like, he goes, "Man, I don't know. When it rains, it wouldn't start. When it would, that type of stuff." So I was like, "Okay." I said, "If you want to sell it, I'll buy it back from you for $500." That's what I told him. And he paid $2,000 for it. And he was like, he thought about it. I said, "Hey, I'll buy it back from you. And if you ever, if you want me to, I'll buy it back for." I wasn't gonna give him $2,000 for it, but I said, "I'll buy it back from you." He goes, "Okay, I'll think about it." So I ended up. He calls me one day. He said, "Hey man, I got a S10 pickup. Could you change out some parts for me?" I got the parts. You change them out. I was like, "Sure." "What you got?" "Well, I need a drag link and a tie rod end replaced." I said, "Well, okay, I can do that." He goes, if you do that, I'll just give you the van." "What? Are you serious?" I didn't say it like that, but I was like, "Oh, really? Yeah, I'll take it back." He goes, I said, $500? "No, I'll give it back to you for free." "What? Okay, bring it in, I'll fix it." So I said, "You got to get in alignment once I do this, because you change the drag link and the tie rod ends, you gotta get in alignment." So I get it back. I set it in the parking lot. It sat there for 2 years. And I was like, okay, I got to start doing something with this van, because I want to go camping. I ain't got millions of dollars. So I'm going to just build my camper van, a one-man camper van. Well, I go a little overboard. I'm not going to just build any one-man camper van. I'm going to make sure it's got everything it needs so I can live in that bad boy. So I ended up taking it to the body shop. I got it painted, like I always do. I always paint my vehicles. Had a guy throw some decals on it, but that was later. I went to Arizona, got me a roof rack from Journeys Off-Road. They're in Kentucky now. I built the inside out in wood, typical, camper van style. I got a refrigerator in there, a microwave in there. I can watch TV on the wall. I got a TV that flips down. I got storage underneath the bed. I got a bed. I got a table on the side. I didn't put a sink in there. There wasn't no water in there, so I didn't want to put sink and all that stuff. So but I got solar panels on the top, 2 AGM batteries. I can actually survive in. I took it on campgrounds out in Florida and off-grid complete. And had power. People looking at me like, this guy. It's kind of funny because I was at a campsite on the base. Well, it's not on the base. It's kind of on the base, but it's called Duck Pond. And I'm up there. I got my van all done up and my dog tank with me and whatnot. And I'm sitting there going, this is paradise. Well, all these people start showing up. Well, not a lot of them, but just a few campers out there. They started, showing up camping and whatnot, pulling in their trucks with their canoes and their, hiking boots and stuff like that, and their red lights and stuff like that. And they came over to me. They're like, "Man, we really like your setup." And I was like, "Thanks," because I got an awning and a surround for, basically cover me up, so you can't fucking, it's like a tent that wraps around the van. I'm cooking, I'm making steaks and chicken, and it's just me and my dog. But I was having a good time. I was enjoying that. I was cooking breakfast in the morning, bacon. And, I'm not fishing. I'm not a fisherman. I'm not going to go hunting. I'm not hiking. I'm just chilling. When you get to the point in your life where you can say, it's not about I gotta do this. I gotta do. No, it's about chilling in the van, looking at the stars at night. That's it. That's all I was. My van was killing it. I was killing. I was in Big Lagoon State Park in Florida, over there close to Pensacola, and I'm out there by myself. I didn't even have my dog at the time. I didn't take my dog, but I'm just chilling. And the F-16s, the Thunderbirds flew over. Oh no, the Blue Angels. There's a Navy base over there. They flew right over my head. They were doing acrobatic stunts right above me because Pensacola Naval Air Station is over there. And yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm watching NASCAR and the Blue Angels flying over. Yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty cool. Yeah, I like NASCAR. I watch NASCAR every weekend. I might sneak it in. I might have to watch it later, but I watch NASCAR. I've grown up with NASCAR from Alabama. That's all I used to do when I was a kid. I used to watch NASCAR. I was watching Cale Yarborough and Bobby Allison and the Bonnets and the Bodines back in the day. Richard Petty was my favorite. Yeah. But I kind of got off track. I was talking about the Grand Dunes State Park here in Colorado, and decided to go out there this past weekend. And it was nice and warm. It was decent weather-wise. When you got to make sure it's not cold because you don't want to be out there freezing your butt off. But it was pretty nice. We did take some. I was gonna make a video and post it, but I don't think you can post videos in a state park or national parks. I think they have a rule against that because you're making money off of them, and they want some of that money. So I didn't post anything, but I will make a video of pictures. But I've seen other YouTubers who make videos of national parks and they get jacked up, and that means you could lose some money or go to jail. But yeah. But anyway, van's transmission. I gotta get a transmission. It's a 4L60E. Of course, the van has it's not a new motor, but I got a motor at a salvage yard many moons ago. Changed that out when I first started the process of the van. And I ended up tearing it apart, separating it from the subframe and all that. I should have did a little bit more cleaning, but the steering gearbox needs to be replaced. The transmission needs to be replaced. The inside needs to be redone, but I ain't gonna do that until I get everything else done, and then I'll start rebuilding the inside, making it more comfortable for me because I'm getting old, so I can't be leaning over like that. I did put a Ironclad Metalworks seat rotator on the passenger side. I know they started making the driver's side. IroncladMetalworks.com, I think it is. That's where I bought it. I bought it a few years ago. I had it a few years ago, and then before I sold my house in Florida, I ended up switching it out. But finally got that with me. I was like, I need my van. I gotta get it back here so I can start working on it. So I need to get that transmission done, get that gearbox done, the steering gearbox, because it leaks a lot of fluid. It just does. When you can hear I changed a bunch of stuff thinking it was that, and it wasn't. It was actually the gearbox. So I got to change that. Once I do that, man, it's gonna be perfect. This channel, I'm just trying to build it up, trying to get more subscribers so I can get monetized, because it's not cheap traveling. And eventually it'll happen. It's taken me a long time to get to this point, but I told myself I got to do live so I can continue to build and then make some videos that are very entertaining. And it's hard to do that because it takes a lot to do this YouTube. Speaking of Uber, speaking of Lyft, not sponsored. I used to do that. I Ubered and Lyft for a few years, and when I had my black Ram, that Ram looked like a limo. It was all blacked out, tinted windows, beautiful truck, literally beautiful truck. And I remember pulling up to people like, man, this is a beautiful truck. And I'm like, yeah. It wasn't even the top of the line. It was just, had a lot of options for a Ram Bighorn 2021. And I used to take people out, go back and forth, driving people around. And at first I started out, I was like, I shouldn't do this, but I started doing it. And I'm telling you, in that location, in the Fort Walton Beach, Destin, Sandestin, Grayton Beach, all that area, money at the time. I don't know about now, but back then it was like nobody was doing it, and I was getting all the calls. And it ain't no joke. Uber and Lyft, if you have the right car, and you can drive. There's states that are stupid, like this one here. But Florida was so fluent when it comes to pretty easy to be Uber driver and stuff like that. You make a lot of money in Uber. You do. You can if you make it a full-time job. You say, hey, this is what I do. I started doing that, was making money, and I said, I'm closing the shop. And I know people was like, what are you doing? Why are you closing? Because I don't have to work so hard. I ain't got to worry about no employees. I ain't got to pay no taxes to this government. I ain't got to pay rent, a mortgage on a building. I ain't got to, it was easy. It was easy. And, being a lot of people look at you like, oh man, you had a business. Why did you shut it down? Because it's hard being a business owner. It is very hard. You have a lot of hats. And that's where people don't understand. You have a lot of hats. And if you are a business owner, you know what I'm talking about. It's just hard to be in business because employees don't, especially a small business, because employees aren't the same. If they work for Walmart, they all loyal and shit. They work for, the government or some company, they're all loyal. But they work for a small business, they don't show up for work. They call in sick all the time. You gotta take care of their shit when they're gone. It's just ridiculous. It's people just don't understand. When you work for a small business, you are the business, and you have to be there. You have to support the business so it can grow, so you can make more money. But they don't understand that. The guys that had worked for me, the mechanics, I used to tell them, if this business blows up, you're in the bottom, and you're going to be at the top one day. And they didn't. They were too busy trying to do their own thing. Some of them, especially in the auto repair business, mechanics are not loyal at all. I don't care what they tell you. They'll fix somebody's car and make money right next door to your building. They are not loyal. I found that out several times. And I used to, work with these guys, give them keys and all that so they can get in the building and all that. And big mistake. Mechanics are not loyal. They're the worst bunch of people, unless they work for a municipality or something like that. But it doesn't matter because municipalities only working on their stuff. But if you're a shop owner and you have mechanics, they're fucking stealing your money all day long by doing it at their house, going to their friend's house, working at the people's house, taking your customers, stuff like that. I'm just being honest. It is not easy being a shop owner unless you're a big company. And even those companies, those guys are still doing it. But the big company's so big, they don't see it. Little guys see it. I had one loyal mechanic. One. He started with me when I first opened the first shop, and he would not do any work outside the shop. He'd bring it to the shop. The rest of them were garbage. I had one working on a car in front of the shop getting paid by the customer, and I just happened to roll up, catch it. I had another one fixing his friend's car for free, and I'm like, are you serious? I said, dude, Don't ever do that again. He's like, what? I said, my friends pay. And I've known these people a long time. They come to my shop, they pay, so that means your friend has to pay the shop. You can't, you know. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Well, you know now. I should take it out of your check. But, but anyway, I had a guy, he was terrible. He had my same name. And he had this, he went to get some, he goes, I gotta go get some parts. Right, so I was like, okay. So he goes to O'Reilly's, I want to say it was, starts fixing this lady's brakes in the parking lot of O'Reilly's while he's on the clock. Right, so I'm like, what the fuck is this guy? Where's he at? So he comes back. He's like, oh, I did. Oh. And then she shows up because the shit was fucked up. And she was like, he was working on. He working on. He ain't. That ain't that. That ain't. So he goes. She goes, oh, I'm sorry. I said, he's working on your brakes in the street. That's you. That's on him. And he needs to get your car off the property. And she was like, what? Yeah. He needs to fix that somewhere else at your house, not here. But, yeah. But anyway, I just thought I'd come on. I'm ranting right now, talking about my shop. Just chatting. I don't know. Talking. Trying to survive. Doing the off grid. This is not easy if you're gonna do it. It can be. You can do some stuff. You can, but a lot of problems you got to think about solar, water, septic. You got to think about all that stuff. A lot of people dig holes and poke some dirt, but that's not legal. You got to get permits to do that. The solar power can be challenging sometimes. You have to ration your power. The water's not so bad. I can live off of 500 gallons almost in a month. So you just have to not be wasting water. Don't waste it. Because when you live in a house, you just be turning on the faucet and enjoying it. But when you live off grid, you got to think about, am I going to have water tomorrow if I do that? Now, if you have a well, that's a whole nother story. What am I looking at? I'm just looking around the tent. I got my new plates for my truck, and that's pretty cool. I was getting tired of that paper plate back there. I bought a new truck, of course, a couple months back, and I cannot keep that thing clean for save my life. It is dirty. But the tires on it, I keep telling them don't put no tire shine on it, just straight wash it, and then they do it anyway, and then your tire's all dirty because you got dirt in the tire shine, and that kind of sucks. But yeah, I bought a new Ram 1500 26. I traded in old Zeus, which was the black Ram that took me across America and all the way up in Alaska and back. Kind of miss it because it was a beautiful truck. It had a lot of shine to it. It just looked so good. Wheels, tires, it just looked good. The truck just looked good. And then it had that barn door on the back, which was awesome. And had a step that you could step up into the bed and whatnot. And then the tailgate worked in both directions. You can open it as a barn and you can flip it down and do whatever. But it had a bed liner in it also. I put a tonneau cover over it, but that was a mistake. The tonneau cover just added to the problem when it comes to dirt, because dirt flops up in there and it gets trapped up inside the bed and it just tears up the bed. So right now I'm debating on that on this truck if I'm going to do that. My travel trailer got a cracked window, so I got to fix that. I'm going to have to get it replaced. I tried to order a cover for it, and the company that was in Florida said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna send it out for you," and if you pay $500 for it, and they never send it. So I just got my money back through the credit card. That sucked. So I drove back with no cover, and it cracked. A rock hit the window, and that crack just grew. So it's actually almost the entire distance of the window. So I'm kind of worried it might just open up, and next thing I know, I'm slooping in the wind. The trailer does need new tires. Wore them out. I mean, that trip, them tires were bad. I don't even know how I made it back, but I got lucky. I mean, I bought a brand new trailer, and nobody owned it. Nobody abused it but me. But once we get the new property, I'm going to have it detailed completely inside and out. Going to replace the tires, get the bearings all switched out, and make sure it's 100% ready to go, because there are so many places to camp in Colorado. That's pretty much it for today. I got 14 minutes to blow, so I can go to bed because I got to work in the morning. But I forgot to take the propane tanks this morning. I'm like, hopefully we survive the night. But I'll take them in the morning and get them filled up. And, I've been blowing through some propane, I'll tell you that much. The sun's coming out, so it's not so bad now. It's actually thinning out. It's not getting so cold. But my phone is about to die, so I'm gonna cut this short. Like I said, like, subscribe, hit that bell, get notification for my next video, and leave a comment. You can leave a comment, I don't mind. For some reason, I got to figure out YouTube. It's acting weird for me, but I'm trying to build the channel, trying to get more subscribers, and hopefully this channel will grow. I've been trying to get it to grow for quite some time, but I kind of got lazy. I was like, man, nobody wants to look at my channel. Oh my God. No, you gotta keep working at it. So have a good night. We got a minute left. My phone's gonna die probably while I'm talking, but a diesel heater, I'm gonna turn that off so I can save diesel, because I've been spending a lot of money on diesel also. But it's not that cold right now. It's pretty warm right now out in the town, the cities, towns, everything. It was windy for the past few days. Really, really windy. Only problem I'm having is my cover on my UTV is messing up the paint job. So I got to figure that out. But I don't want to leave it wide open so it don't rot in the sun, because the sun is close to us. But yeah. But anyway, like, subscribe, hit that bell, get notification. And I'll see you on the next live, because that's all I'm doing right now, live videos, because I ain't a good videographer. I don't think. But I could be. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. See you next time.